Hello everyone, welcome to Sahi Career Industry Connect. Today we have with us Mr. Aditya Pisupati, who is working at a very senior position in IT sales in Cisco. Hello sir, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me here.
Pleasure is all ours, sir.
No, mine too. Anyway,
We would like to start by discussing about your career journey so that our viewers can get an idea about how the journey has been so far, how and what are the problems that a person usually faces in the career journey, uh, and so on.
sure. So, like many thousands and lakhs of students across India, soon after my plus two, I was equally confused about what to do. Engineering was the easiest choice, so I took up chemical engineering, and I had no clue about it at that point in time before I got into it. But when I did get into it, I realized in the first year, second year itself, that this is not made for me.
Okay.
Right? I am not made for chemical engineering either ways. But then I had to somehow pass through the entire thing, which I did successfully. And then immediately I got into a sales. I wanted to get into a sales kind of a role. So I was the first job offer and the first job that I got was in Genesis, which is a training institute in Hyderabad. Paid me 1,500 rupees a month. But I was at the reception taking calls.
Okay.
And telling people, counseling them why they should really take a course from Genesis. It's like an NIT or an APTEC kind of a place. But that gave me a lot of exposure in terms of what really happens in the real market scenario. Though the market was very large, and I was doing a very, very small, significant portion of the entire thing. But then I did learn that, hey, it is not an easy thing to sell something. As a natural thing, obviously, I wouldn't want to be stuck in that job for a very long time. I said I should study more, and which is where I did my MBA. And as a part of my placements, I got a job into Times of India. So I was handling the Times of India market for Hyderabad in the space called the brand capital, which is today. In those days, it used to be called the private treaty. So I was managing that particular piece for them for about 1.5 years. Post that, I got into Dun and Bradstreet, which was into financial risk management. So from counseling, reception job to media to financial risk management, and then finally in 2008, I got into Cisco. So this has been my overall journey per se. Uh, Not been easy, not been difficult too at the same time. But it's all about making some choices and sticking to them or not sticking to them. You need to move quickly because that's the only way you're going to really build your career.
Wow, that was across a lot of genres.
Yes.
What I would like to ask now is, after your BTech, you moved to sales job directly. How hard do you think was it to switch the entire stream, or if you consider it a stream switch, was it any helpful that you did your BTech?
So, like I said, chemical engineering per se was not made for me, and a lot of students today actually make that graduation choice, which they realize is not right for them, halfway through it. So it is absolutely fine. There is nothing to really fear about the particular piece that hey, I'm doing a metallurgical engineering or a chemical engineering or something else, and I cannot get a job elsewhere. It is all about how you really perceive the market, how you really position yourself, how you train yourselves in terms of certain skill sets, and then get into the market. At the end of the day, you have to be confident about yourself, and you have to exude that confidence to the other person to saying, "Hey, I can really manage this job for you."
Valid point. Aditya, what do you think are the skill sets that a person in college needs to have to start his or her career in sales?
In sales, I think one thing that is very, very important in sales, though a lot of people would start off saying you have to be a very proactive kind of a person, very outgoing kind of a person. You should enjoy talking to people. No, I'm absolutely opposite to each one of them. I love myself. I love my own single solitude company. But having said that, I think it is extremely important to be patient. There is a lot of patience that you need in a sales role. There is a lot of letting go attitude that you have to have in a sales role because for every 10 deals that you're really going after, 8 of them will not close. 2 of them will close, and that is what will get you your revenues, right? So you have to understand and learn how there's very important factor of letting go. If something is not working out, you should understand when to let go of it and then move on to the next best opportunity. faff around and sell only so much. But in the longer term, I think it is really critical that you have to be genuine and that has to come out naturally and customers see that and purchase from you.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. How would you say, Aditya, is IT sales different from normal sales or other selling normal products?
Um, See, IT sales, there are various bunch of IT sales, right? So what we sell in Cisco, for example, is hardware and software, largely in the networking space or security or data center or collaboration, so on and so forth. If you go to an IBM, there are again their servers and storage and their SI integration, so on and so forth. If you go to a Airtel or a Sifi or a Geo, they sell bandwidth, they sell networks again, and so there are multiple facets in the IT sales industry itself. It is a vast market. You go to banking, they will sell security. They will even the ATM machines that you the sorry the card machine, debit card machine that you see also falls on IT sales because that's IT enablement of a business process, right? So if all these things taken into consideration is an IT sales purview. It is huge, and if you ask what is required to get into that, I think a lot of common sense. You just need to understand technology, of course. You need to. There are some very deep level IT sales, if I can call that deep level. But yeah, like a CCNA, CCIE certification from Cisco itself. Unless and until you don't understand networking and you don't finish that certification course, you really can't go into the market and confidently speak about it. So there are certain courses, there are certain skill sets that you will need to develop if you want to go and sell a certain product. But majority of it, if you get into the market and you are open, you are willing to learn, I think you can really go ahead and sell.
Okay, just to summarize for our viewers, just correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
I think apart from patience, that is a key requirement for a sales role, any sales role, be it IT or a normal sales role, and the passion towards technology and the hunger to learn.
Absolutely.
What are the 3 or 4 things that you think should be there in an interview? Or what are the 3 things, if I may rephrase the question, that you look while interviewing a candidate?
So if I have to hire somebody in my team, one thing is, of course, I see if the person's attitude is good enough. If he's irritable, he can never be a good sales guy. Because if he's irritable, as a salesperson, you are working with not just the customers, but a lot of other people in the ecosystem. So it's very important for you to be a people's guy. You need to at least be respectful, understand what each one of them is going through, what their problems are, and be very upfront about, proactive about their own things. And you need to solve problems for them. So that's number one. Second, do they have the drive to really do this? Sales job is always about numbers. Just to give you a perspective, in Cisco, we have something called the weekly commits. So at the beginning of the year, we actually forecast numbers for the quarter, the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and we actually break it down to every week. So we have to have that kind of visibility and the forecasting aptitude to go back to our management and say, hey, in week 36, this is approximately the kind of business that we will get. Right? So you need to have that kind of control over your customers, over the market, to really give that kind of a number. And once you give a number, a commit, you give a commit, you have to more or less stick to it.
Okay.
Because the entire linearity or everyone's commit rolls up into Chuck Robbins, for example, who is the CEO of the company, right? So it is very important for him to understand what kind of revenue is going to come in this month, in this quarter, in this year, basis which the entire market fluctuations will happen on the stock prices and so on and so forth. So there is a target that's been set, we break it down and we do it. So you have to be really, really good with your numbers. You have to be really good in terms of following up with your customers, and you should have the drive, saying, I will make this happen. Because there are 10,000 things that will not make it happen. You need just one thing that will make it happen, and you need to really identify that.
Which makes sense. Aditya, if I were to ask you about, let's say on a lighter note, what are the major blunders that you have seen in resumes? What would that be? What pops into your mind, top 2 or 3?
Fortunately, in a company like Cisco, we don't get very dumb resumes. People who with decent work experience will come, but we do hire a lot of freshers from various colleges. So some of the funniest things that I see is I'm a hardworking person. Who cares? I don't want a hardworking person. I want a smart person who's working.
Okay.
Right? You could be working hard. You could be eating away my resources and my time. But if the money is not coming onto the table, if the deals are not closing, you're not helpful. Right? So that's one blunder. So don't copy paste your resumes from other people. we see through it because we see our HR. I don't really see other things, but our HR sees thousands of resumes on a daily basis. Do not copy paste. That's the biggest blunder. The minute you do, the minute it looks like another average kind of a regular resume, you lose interest. Make it as quirky and interesting as possible. IT sales is serious job. It does not mean that you don't have to be creative about it. You can still be very creative and also push across your what you want to communicate to your recruiter.
Okay. Now that we're talking about freshers, what would be one or two major advices that you would like to give freshers who have just joined a company after their college, be it in sales or any other profile whatsoever? In general, what would be the advice that you would think they should take care of?
I think for a fresher, the actual job starts while they're studying. They have to really go out in the market and interact with the industry as much as possible. That is really, really important because that will give them the kind of exposure that is required for them to really settle down faster once they have a proper job.
Okay.
And once they come on board, I think it is very important for them to understand the internal processes very well and fast, so that they don't large companies like an IBM, Microsoft, or Cisco, or Google. Unfortunately, because they're large, the processes are huge. There are hazard things that you need to do for hazard other things. So you need to navigate your way through that. The easiest way to do that is identify a mentor or a buddy in your system and then tag along with them. Go shadow them on calls, go do their work for them. There are a lot of transactional things that we do in large companies in terms of even after we book a deal, we still have to enter that entire thing in SFDC, in our Salesforce, ERP, and so on and so forth. So do that for them. If you do that, you will learn all this quickly. Don't think it is a clerical job. Clerical jobs are the most important jobs because they run the system. Learn the clerical stuff, the transactional stuff first. Automatically, you will be elevated into doing much higher things because you will have control on basic things which a lot of people in the system might not even know.
Correct, correct, correct. So now, Aditya, taking you back a couple of years when you were in your BTech, maybe second year when you realized that chemical engineering is not for you, yeah, per se. Did you ever thought about planning your career at that particular stage, or was it whatever comes in my way, I'll take it, I'll try it, and all that kind of thing?
I definitely did think during my MBA, saying I will not stick with one single industry per se, because there were a lot of these guest faculties who used to visit our campus and speak about it, and they were 15 years, 18 years, 20 years in the same industry, doing the same thing again and again. It might have worked out very well for them, but for me, I'm the kind of person that wants change, wants different challenges at different points in time. So I decided that I will move from one industry to another. So from media to financial risk management to technology, then I was a part of a startup in Switzerland, which is into medical devices. And then I started my own company, which is into art. And now I'm back in Cisco.
Okay.
So it's a full circle, but at the end of the day, at least I got an exposure to so many industries and the way that each industry works. Now, the best part about doing this is you can take ideas from one industry and implement them somewhere else. That industry would have never seen that because it doesn't happen in that industry. But ideas like these will actually work very well because it's creative, it's new, and it really is for your benefit. It gives you better returns, it gives you better visibility, and so on and so forth. So I think that is something that I decided. So my only planning in my head to answer your question was I will not stick to one industry. That's all.
Do you think, in the hindsight, do you think if you would change one thing about your career, what would it be? Or was it good up to the
I
mark?
wouldn't have done my engineering.
Okay.
I would have completely skipped engineering, maybe would have taken up something else, but not chemical for sure. But in terms of the jobs I picked, I would have been a little more choosy about DMV because that wasn't the kind of job that I really wanted to do. But I got into it not knowing completely about it. So this is another thing that most of your audience can also understand, that you need to do that kind of a due diligence before you get into a organization. A job is important, but any job will tire you, it will bore you, it will not give you the growth opportunity that you're looking for. So it's very important for you to understand if you really like the job that you're doing. If you're not, if the kind of customers that you're meeting, if the kind of sales that you're doing are very, very substandard or average or nothing that really drives your soul, I think you should not take it up. Don't worry, wait it out for a couple of months, you'll get another one, but don't take a job if you don't like it.
Okay. Objectively speaking, what is a 2 or 3 step process or an approach that you would like to recommend a fresher in BTech if they are planning to have a career in sales?
So BTech, the fortunate part about BTech is you are technically strong. They at least give you the base in terms of what the technicalities are. So it could be electrical, it could be aeronautical, or whatever it is. But you are starting off with some knowledge about the industry. So you have a choice to either continue in the same industry as sales, or you completely shift and come out and get into whatever sales you want. You could sell art if all that you care. But I think what engineering does and the advantage of engineering, it makes you really, really strong with numbers. I think mathematically or from that problem solving standpoint, I think engineering is great. And that is something that's helped me also in chemical. But having said that, like I said, if you were to really pick anything in that particular field or outside, you can always do that. But while doing your engineering, just focus on that. And also constantly keep looking out for various avenues in terms of what you can get into eventually once you get out of engineering. If sales is the way that you really want to go out, there are enough and more. So when we were studying, there was not so much internet as it is today. There was not so much information available for us. But today you have the chance and you have companies like Sahi Career to really guide you well. So I think it's very important to have conversations with people like these, so that they'll give you options saying, hey, if you are really interested in these three, maybe this is what you need to do. But in the future, this is how you want to really retire, or this is what way you want to go when you're 50 years old. This is what you should definitely do because they have the kind of details, they have the kind of information of the market, and they've been studying the market for such a long time. So I think you should just talk to a counseling company like SahiCareer and just talk to them about it.
So, Aditya, as you rightly said, a lot of people are confused about their careers, the industry they should be targeting, and because of less exposure that they have. Even after the internet, a lot of people are not able to get a lot of exposure, be it unwillingness to get it or lack of resources, maybe. What I would like to know is a lot of freshers, especially from BTech or from other colleges as well, join IT sector primarily because of 2 reasons. That's what I think. One is availability of jobs or resources. So
Yeah.
if their campus placement has IT companies vastly, they tend to go in it because they want a job. So they are more desperate than having a career goal. Second is for IT sector, it's majorly on-site opportunities. So where a person who joins BTech college in first year is fed by the seniors or the teachers that on-site opportunity is a good thing. So that becomes the primary aim of a person in life that once I join an IT sector company, I need to go for a on-site project. I need to save huge bucks. That's the expectation that they usually have.
Right.
How right or wrong would you think such an expectation is? And what other expectation should a fresher have in terms of campus placement, in terms of his first company or first few companies for that matter? What is the expectation that you think they should have in the mind?
So, getting a job in an IT company for an on-site, that's just a perspective. It is like you walk into a market if you've gone vegetable shopping at some point in time. Companies shop for vegetables, which we have vegetables, and we also can perceive companies as vegetables. There's so many in the market, right? And so many roles in the market. When you walk into the market to buy some vegetables, you don't pick whatever is there and just dump them into your bag and pay something and come off. There could be a lot of rotten ones also in there. You are very picky and selective about that. That's exactly what you should do with your first job too. I know first jobs there are very limited opportunities or whatever it is, but pick the best of the lot. Uh, in terms of understanding what is the career growth in that particular company. If I join as a fresher, as a IT developer, like millions of other people are joining every year, what is the big deal? I mean, what more can I do? And what should I do in that company, in that role, if there is no other option? What should I do in that particular role that will really enable or catapult my or accelerate my overall growth? So absolutely focus on those things and do the right things. Don't become just run of the mill kind of a thing where thousands of other people are doing the same thing. So I'll also do the same thing at some point in time. I'll get my US visa, so I will go to the US and work there for 6 months. Maybe if I'm lucky, I will continue living there or whatever it is. I think that is okay. It has worked for a lot of people, at least from my era. My friends are still in the US. But having said that, that is not the end of the world. I mean, that is not the only option you've got in the world. There are so many other things that you can really do, and that it is best that you explore those options before you get into this uh, copy paste kind of jobs.
Hey Aditya, welcome back.
Thank you.
We were discussing the questions that our viewer has sent us. The first question that we have is, what are the three common strengths that you have noticed in a BTech graduate? Apart from the one that you have already mentioned, that there would be numbers, what are the other two that you might think of?
So I think after meeting a lot of these young freshers who are coming out of BTech or any graduation for that matter, the how pleasant are they when they are really talking to you? How confident is their tone? And how quickly can they really solve problems? I think these three are very, very important. You cannot have a very, very difficult demeanor while speaking to an interviewer. So it's very important that you are natural, but you're not overacting. You see through that. The minute you're overacting, the person will say, "Yeah, I don't know how his real self is." So even if I do like his overaction and I do hire him, I don't know if he'll continue the overaction or maybe increase the overaction. So it's bad for my company.
Correct.
So be natural. You are who you are. At the end of the day, that's very important. You have to recognize that. And numbers. So if they're able to really solve, so I always ask very critical questions in the thing, saying why are all the manholes round, for example. Simple questions like that, but they have to answer. And people generally coming out of engineering college don't have answers to such questions. So even if they give me the wrong answer, I'm fine. But if they're giving that with a confident tone, I think I'm good. That's all it takes, right? At the end of the day, to convince the other person saying what is good for you, what is bad for you.
Correct.
If you're genuine, you will, and you have to have the willingness to learn. So if I say no, you're wrong. What kind of an answer is this? Then if the other, some people basically back out saying, oh, I'm sorry, and they're apologetic about it. Again, bad. You cannot be apologetic. You okay, fine, you don't know the answer, but that's not end of the world again. You just ask me the question. So there are so many kids who come back and ask me, so what's the answer? I love that because at least they're trying to find out what the answer is. So do things that show your curiosity, and not just show. You have to be genuinely curious about learning things. That's important. So be that. Those are the three.
I think that would be really helpful to a lot of our viewers. Also, what I would like to know now is, nowadays technology change at a very fast pace. So, for a person who wants to join technical field, or maybe in a company like Cisco, there are a lot of technology that are coming up front. So, let's say artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things. When we come to computer languages, again we have a number of languages that a person can learn. So discussing about the trends of the industry, which are the languages or what knowledge per se do you think a person should possess if they are targeting a company as big as, let's say, Cisco?
Again, so if it is a Cisco, it is a certain kind of information or knowledge that you will need to have about technologies. If it is maybe say Dell EMC, then you have to know something else about storage and so forth. If it is about something else and so on. So the idea is that you have to pick what industry really excites you. And if that industry excites you, there could be 10 or 15 different technology product lines that are available in that particular industry. In that, again, you can really be specific about few, three or four, and go really deep dive into each one of them to understand what are the trends, what's really happening, where is the market going, what companies are investing in it, why are they investing in it. So, what is the future for this? Is this going to be a 5 year, 10 year, 50 year kind of a thing, or is it going to die off in the next 2 years? So these are the things that you will need to learn and understand. And again, all this information is available on blogs, on forums, on LinkedIn. You search for it and you get enough and more information. But again, most of this information again is very, very, someone says this is great, someone says it is not. It is your judgment ultimately that will guide you saying, hey, this is what I want to do. Or if you are not confident about your judgment, you go to counseling, you talk to people who know about that, and then get ideas from them. They will be the right people to guide you. But there are these times in life where it is very, very critical that you take that decision and take a very, very important decision. Make that important choice. And that's going to really define your life for at least for the next 10, 15 years. And that 10, 15 years is going to define how the next 40 years is going to be.
Correct.
So it's very important that you pick that choice very well. And this does not mean that, hey, you made a wrong choice, you think you made a wrong choice, is the end of the world again. Nothing is ever the end of the world. You can always go back and restart, but again, every time you will need to constantly do that exercise of understanding about that particular industry, understanding the trends, what is the long term, short term of it. If you get into it, for example, when I was in my engineering, I was very interested about clean energy, and there was a company that was making batteries this size
Okay.
that would basically provide energy to the entire building, right? I was like, man, I have to get into this company. But then it is not it is in the short term, it was a very bad idea. In the long term, 25 years, it is a great idea. So Tesla has taken over the technology today and they're building great batteries and stuff like that. But Tesla did not exist when I was there.
Okay.
So for me, I cannot get stuck with a bad company and take a dip in my career early on and then get in with the hope that in the future I might get better chances. Your takeoff has to be really strong, and that's very critical.
I think that would be very useful to our viewers. Uh, in the entire conversation that we have, in the entire Facebook Live session that we have, one thing that has primarily come up is the attitude of the candidate, which
Yes.
you definitely look at. Be it hunger of learning, be it to work in a team, maybe, be it a convincing personality. The attitude of the person really matters. So the last question from my side to you would be, how do you judge the attitude of a person in an interview?
So, put them in a spot. So I would generally put them in a spot saying, "Don't you even know the answer to this?" You know, slightly bordering on insulting them, saying, "Itna bhi nahi jante ho," kind of a thing, and that's sufficient for the reaction from them is sufficient for us to really judge if they are worth the job or not. If they go really antsy, there is a panic attack, or they become defensive or offensive and say, "But I was not supposed to learn this. I did not know how to do this, but I will learn this when I get into the job." Stuff like that. You understand what the attitude of the person is in terms of how they really their perception towards the general life per se. It comes out very clearly. And if you have no option, of course, we'll hire you. We are over the better people. But if you have choice, we would definitely not. So it's very important for you to be genuine again. You have to be upfront about things you know you don't know. It is okay if you don't know. I don't know so many things. He doesn't know so many things. So it is okay. It's absolutely fine. But you have to at least showcase that, hey, I want to learn. This is something that I did not know maybe say a few months back, but I know that today. And this question that you're asking me today, I don't know now, but I can still learn and can get back to you. Right? So I have the ability to learn and implement and execute. That's all that is needed in this world, not just in a sales or an IT sales kind of a thing, but anywhere and any job.
Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure a lot of our viewers would have the hack to your question now,
Yeah.
so that they
Sure.
know that you put them on spot. Thank you so much, Aditya. It was a very enriching session. For our viewers, I would just like to say, if you are still confused about your career and would like to figure out which industry you should be targeting or which sector you should be targeting, go to www.sahicareer.com and take our free test. I'm pretty sure it will help you a lot. Thank you so much.
All the best.